The island has evaded all those searching for it.
It's the mythical home of hula girls, volcanoes, and exotic drinks.
It's a place of abundance and joyous comfort.
After searching the 7 seas, the secret island has finally emerged.
It's a Polynesian paradise in Long Beach.
We're celebrating Pele, the Hawaiian goddess of fire and volcanoes.
Revel in this mysterious grotto with fine food and liquid libations merge with the sound of the islands.
Enjoy its atmosphere of contentment and joy.
More than an illusion, Secret Island is Tiki authenticity at its finest.
Meet our ambassadors of Aloha with a craft cocktail in hand.
Enjoy the tempting tastes and potent potions of Secret Island.
Guaranteed to relax your inhibitions.
Mahalo and welcome to Eclectic American Roots, episode of Roots of Tiki Music and Culture, Volume 2. We again delve into the history and mystery of the culture of Tiki. Last episode, we explored the exotica music of Martin Denny, and we talked to the movers and shakers who dwell in the cool Polynesian lifestyle. We covered the art of shag, the style of bamboo band, the music of Jim Bocce and the Tiki Yaki Orchestra, as well as Kelly Merrill from Trader Sam's at Disneyland, Otto von Stroheim from Tiki Oasis, plus the High Tides recordings as they shared all their stories. All of our Eclectic American Roots episodes are archived on YouTube at our dedicated channel, Stellar Jax, J-A-X. Please subscribe and see all of our shows. But right now, it's Tiki time! Under the continued guidance of Matt Spike Marble, the band leader of the Hula Girls, we embark on another musical expedition, focusing on how surf music is intertwined with Tiki and other aspects of this enchanted culture, sometimes known as Polynesian pop. In Volume 2, we get the shy Charles Phoenix to open up about cars, surf music, and his talent for making mid-century imagery cool again. We'll talk to Sven Kirsten, author of the Book of Tiki and other titles, who joins us from Germany to discuss what makes Tiki so culturally significant. Also, Jason Lee regales us with stories about his music and his friend, the late Andrew McLean, also known as Mr. Tiki Head. Marie King from the Tonga Hut produces a tasty rum rhapsody cocktail, while guitarist Shermie from the Hot Surfer Jets band talks about women in surf music. Big Tiki Dude has curated a series of surf bands from 3 different eras to detail how the music has evolved, and many other surprises await you in Tiki Music and Culture, Volume 2. Our sponsors include Deadhead Rum, the spirit that satisfies your taste for adventure. Another sponsor is the Lowbrow Luau, a 3-day retro Tiki weekender in Long Beach. It's a real special combination of Tiki and retro style with dozens of vendors, artists, bands, and seminars. Please share this show and remember to hit the tip jar, as that is why we create these lifestyle programs, to support the musicians who sorely need the revenues while their world is turned upside down by the pandemic. If you want to use Venmo, go to Jax Hideaway, J-A-X Hideaway. For other payment methods, go to stellarjax.com and make a nice donation today. Now, let's get into some serious surf music before we meet our host today. This video compilation from Big Tiki Dude will get you in the mood.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff, Big Tiki Dude. For those of you who don't know me, I've been involved in the Surfing Museum in Huntington Beach. with the bands down there at the Huntington Beach Pier and in the parking lot at the Surf Museum for the last 20 years. And the last 4 or 5, I've been exclusively in charge of booking those. And then I also do the Surf Guitar 101 convention for the last 14 years. And we have bands from all around the world and local and around the United States come for that. And Christopher asked me to do a little collage of surf music videos for you guys to kind of get the tie-in between surf and tiki. And we're going to break it up into 3 sections. We're going to do 60s, that's the original era of surf. And then the 80s, that's the revival. And then kind of the third wave, as some would call it, is anything from 90 till now. So I'm going to do 4 bands for each era. So here we go.
On behalf of myself and the rest of the guys in the group, we would like to thank you all for making our song Pipeline such a big hit throughout the nation. We would like to play it for you now.
Alrighty, so what we just heard there, we started off with the Shantae's Pipeline, some would say one of the biggest surf songs of the first wave. And then we had Baja by the Astronauts. For those of you who don't know, the Astronauts were from Boulder, Colorado, not the most surfiest places, but they cashed in on that craze, and they did quite the good job. So up next, we're gonna go with Dick Dale and The Wedge.
It's Dick Dale, live at KEXP.
Are you ready for me?
I am so ready for you.
The Wedge.
Alrighty, so as I said before, we went into the Dick Dale and the Wedge. Of course, many people know Miser Lou from Pulp Fiction, and he has a couple other songs that were actually before that. But to me, the Wedge is one of his surfiest songs, and it's about a surf spot, so you got to go with that. And then we kind of mellowed it down a little bit, and we went with the Sandals, the Endless Summer. That's the theme from the surf movie, and that is one of my quintessential tiki/surf songs, where you just picture yourself laying in a hammock between two palm trees with a drink in your hand. So, aloha.
Aloha. Our host again today is Matt Marble, who's known worldwide as simply Spike. Spike is a very busy tiki file and a true tiki historian. Not only is Spike the band leader of the Hula Girls in Southern California, which is a hula billy band, he also has his own modeling photography business, Spike and the Camera, and his work has graced countless magazine covers and posters. In addition, this mid-century collector has built one of America's most well-known and complete tiki bars, which he's dubbed the Breezeway. We're shooting from the Breezeway today. Here he produces videos, photo shoots, and once in a while, a pretty cool party. You can also watch him create a compelling cocktail from various recipes and vintage menus. It's called Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour, and it airs on YouTube every week. So let's introduce your host for today's episode of The Roots of Tiki Music, Volume 2, Spike.
Hey folks, how you doing? It's good to see you again. This is History of Tiki Music and Culture, Volume 2. Yeah, and I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Man, isn't Big Tiki Dude rad? He has been entrenched in surf music for decades and decades. It was cool to get that little brief history there.
Makes me dream.
yes, I first met performing at one of Stellar's shows in Santa Ana at the Yost Theater. As he was passing my custom 1961 Econoline, I said, hey, you know so much about cars. What do you think my center cluster is here? And he goes, without even skipping a beat, 1958 Edsel. And the only other person that's been able to get that has been Jay Leno. So let me welcome the purveyor of all things mid-century, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Charles Phoenix.
Thank you, Spike. Yes, I remember that moment, Spike. It was magical. We were in the alley at the Yost Theater, which I love being in the alley near any theater after a show. It's always magic time in the alley. And you drove up in your 1961 Ford Econoline pickup. And if there's anybody out there who doesn't know what a 61 Ford Econoline pickup looks like, you got to Google immediately, because you are going to see, seriously, not joking around, this is real, a mid-century modern masterpiece. Basically the best looking pickup truck probably ever of all time. Certainly the most century modern. And so Spike, right? Am I right or wrong?
I agree with you. I have never heard that called a masterpiece of mid-century modernity. I think it kind of looks like a funny robot or something, but I do love it.
Well, I mean, I guess then we might as well get it out in the open. I mean, now we know. I mean, seriously, not joking around. I mean, that truck design was far more fashion forward, far more progressive than any of full-size pickups in Ford's line. So, yeah, it's to me a masterpiece.
Well, what's that? 58 DeSoto.
Yeah, it's my new car. I've got it in the garage right now.
Do you really?
I just drove it. That's the one I got right there. 30,000 original miles.
Oh, man.
It's turquoise metallic. I got it from an old lady. And today I was driving it, and a friend of mine spotted me driving. I didn't see my friend, even though he honked and waved, but I was too busy driving it. And he said, "You were driving that car like a sports car." And I'm like, yeah. I mean, you've got to. These cars really want to be driven. Yeah, I have a brand new series, a YouTube series called Joyride, which is mid-century modern motoring, science fiction styling, and all kinds of other good time fun. Joyride on YouTube. That's, yeah, happening now.
Awesome. Well, we will be sure to check that out. My highlight of every Viva Las Vegas is there are two things that I will never miss. I will never miss Deke Dickerson's Guitar Geek Festival, and I will never, ever miss your slideshow, both slideshows.
Well, gosh, that's a big compliment. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I really appreciate that.
Thank you for putting those together. I've been hitting the head with colorful bread and donuts, and seen you roller skating on stage.
Oh my God, and I fell down. Oh, well, of course I would fall down. Well, if you like my slideshows, I don't know if you have a copy of my book, Addicted to Americana, Celebrating Classic and Kitschy American Life and Style. It's kind of like the slideshows in a book. It's a lot of fun. It's at charlesphoenix.com. They said I could promo my stuff. So I also brought some show and tell. I don't know if we want to talk about that. Do we like show and tell?
Let's talk about that.
Can you see this?
Oh, yeah. I missed those.
Am I like on it or what? I mean, there's nothing better than this. You know, the best thing about this, though, the fun pack from Kellogg's. Let's see, we've got Apple Jacks, Cocoa Krispies, Frosted Flakes, Fruit Loops, more Fruit Loops, Frosted Flakes, Corn Pops, and more Cocoa Krispies. The best thing you can do with these is put them in a big bowl all together. Or you can fry them up in butter, and that's even better. Yeah, seriously. So just saying.
What has been your favorite tiki bar that you have ever visited?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I guess that the best tiki bar, let's go down the laundry list. I mean, here in LA, in Los Angeles land, I mean, I go for the time honored. That's where I'm landing 99% of the time, places where you walk in the door and you go, what decade are we in? First of all, the Tiki Tea since 1961 on Sunset and Silver Lake in Los Angeles. I mean, just to be there, to be in the realm of that wonderland is a miracle of marvelous feeling happening inside you and outside of you. Can't
And
recommend it enough. There's also the Tonga Hut on Victory Boulevard in Van Nuys, North Hollywood.
Right.
Since 1958, they've done an amazing job there of kind of resurrecting the old school style decor. There's a tiki god at the front door, even though you have to enter in the back door. But never mind that. There's that place is incredible. Then the Tonga Room in San Francisco.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, where do we begin? I mean, like, as soon as you like get blocks away, you like start like, you know, just brain starts throbbing with excitement. You're so happy to just even imagine going there. Wow. They used to have like happy hour for like an extra $1. You got this whole huge buffet or whatever, but that went away. But who cares? It doesn't matter. I don't know how much it costs to go there now because I haven't been there for a while, but whatever it is not enough. Because that is another time-honored, that is a genuine, authentic, real mid-century giant tiki bar restaurant extravaganza where the old swimming pool, the old plunge in the indoor and goes out on a little thing and plays while it floats and it rains. It 10 rains and thunders every 20 minutes. I mean, where do we even begin to behold the glory of that? But if you really want to get serious, put your mask on, get yourself in a plastic bubble, and fly all the way to Florida land.
Of course.
Where you're going to see the greatest tiki bar that could ever be, that ever was. Where do we begin to discuss the almighty and everything wonderful Mai Kai in Fort Lauderdale, Florida?
Absolutely. So a couple of things about the places you mentioned. The great thing about the Tiki Tea is that Ray Buin was the one who started the place, and he was one of Don Beach's original bartenders. So it's a family legacy that's passed down the recipes directly from Don the Beachcomber. The other place, the Tonga Hut, absolutely has incredible cocktails, mostly because of Marie King, who's a great...
Love Marie.
Absolutely. And then you also mentioned the Tonga Room, where Chris Isaak had a record release party for, what was it, Blue Hotel or something? He floated out on the boat and played a little 3/4 scale guitar to the audience there. And then, you're right, the Mai Kai is it's the crown jewel of all of the modern tiki bars.
Where do we begin? Serving it up since 1956.
Uh-huh.
I haven't been there for a while in Florida, but I know it's still going strong. They have the big floor show with entertainment. They have a gift shop. They have the bar. They have the dining room. They have got. I had an epiphany moment at Mai Kai last time I was there. I stopped drinking for a while after that.
Oh no.
Yes. Because. You know how it feels when you have like 23 too many tiki drinks?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's
what happened to me.
Is that they taste so good and you don't really taste the alcohol, and then they rush up on you like a freight train.
Yeah, my freight train went off cliff and into the abyss, and I don't know what happened. I don't know. But I know there was trouble, and I couldn't do alcohol for a little bit of a minute after that. Yeah, it was a thing.
Let me ask you, how do you feel about, have you been to Pacific Seas at Clifton's in downtown?
I have been to the new Pacific Seas at Clifton's Cafeteria. I don't know if they're open now, but I think I was there like on their first night, whatever. I have not been back since.
Oh, wow.
I am a huge fan of Clifton's, but for whatever reason, it's a little bit off my radar. I mean, they close, they are open, they're closed. I don't know. I'm all confused. But yeah, Clifton's Cafeteria, downtown Los Angeles, no longer goes by Clifton's Cafeteria because it's no longer a cafeteria. It has been transformed into a bar. Clifton's has been there since 1935. Now, the Pacific Seas is actually a take on their other themed restaurant that they had, also starting in 1935, a couple blocks away from the Clifton's we know now. The Pacific Seas was another huge cafeteria they built. And I remember about probably 10 years ago, I took my mother after a lifetime of hearing, like every birthday when we were kids, we'd ride the red car from Compton. Yeah, my mother's from Compton, straight out of Compton, that Compton.
Wow.
So she said our grandma would would ride us in the red car, the old street car, all the way to downtown. They'd always have their birthdays at Clifton's Cafeteria. I heard about it in my life, Clifton's Cafeteria, Clifton's Cafeteria. So finally, I moved to LA like when I was 19 and discovered Clifton's Cafeteria. Loved it for, I don't know how many, 30 years or whatever. It closed and became the bar or whatever. So, but before it closed, we're going to Clifton's. You've been talking about it all this time. I love it. Let's go. We walked in the door and she looked around and she said, "Where are all the neon palm trees?"
Oh, no.
And I'm like, we're not in that Clifton's. That Clifton's got bulldozed. Clifton's Pacific Seas Cafeteria got bulldozed in 1960. It had a short lifespan. What?
And now it's a beautiful, beautiful parking lot.
Which it has been since 1960. So yeah. But it had giant neon flowers. If you go online and Google Pacific Seas, Clifton's Pacific Seas, well, you'll get the new one, but you'll also get the old one with the giant neon flowers. You would think that someone would have saved the giant neon flowers and palm trees. But anyway, yeah, I know.
That's the crazy thing is if you talk to like Bosco or Sven or Otto, the guys that were doing the Tiki thing in the early days, they would go dumpster diving and into, they would see kelbos or something knocked down or closed. They'd go dumpster diving and it'd be filled with these kind of lamps. And it's like nobody cared or thought that it was anything.
Well, yeah, when I started thrift shopping, like in the late 70s and all through the 80s and stuff, like those chunky Jello lamps and all that, they were like $1.99. I mean, there was always a whole bunch of them. I mean, I always appreciated them.
Of course.
But, now you can't even touch them. They're so expensive. Speaking of Tiki and Tiki bars, you know that I have a Tiki mug. I have just a few left. This is the Tiki Turkey Meatloaf mug. Yeah, that says it. Charles Phoenix Raw Tiki Turkey Meatloaf mug. And this is from MP, Michael Parton Ceramics. It says it right there, USA. This is 128 of 300. We actually only made 200. I have 6 of these left, charlesphoenix.com. And I absolutely, there he is. Love it. I know. Where do we begin? Speaking of Tiki drinks.
Yeah.
Did you say it looks just like me?
Yep.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Did you know much of Sam's Seafood or Don the Beachcomber before you started performing there?
Well, not that much. That's one place we never went there as a kid. I mean, it was always a legendary landmark when it was Sam's Seafood. It had been Sam's Seafood since like the late 20s. And one of the greatest neon signs ever was that swordfish that was up there that said Sam's. I mean, that is a Southern California icon for all time. One of a kind, unique, legendary landmark in Sunset Beach forever and always. Long may it's so perfect. I mean, that long nose and everything on that, I love it.
Is there a vintage Tiki bar that you would have liked to have been able to visit before it was destroyed?
Well, the Kahiki in Columbus, Ohio is high on that list. I mean, that's really the one. But there are some new really fun Tiki bars.
Oh, yeah.
There's one in, where's the Undertow? Is that the one in Phoenix?
Yeah, I think so.
The Undertow, you walk in and you're walking into like what I call a bro brew pub. It's called bro brew pubs, not brew pub, but a bro. No bros, dude. Hey, dude. Bro brew pub, just because it's fun to say bro brew. It is, you'll all have to admit. It's like you walk into this and right all of a sudden there's this staircase and it kind of has some like thatching on it and you're like, what's that doing there? And then you go down this steep staircase with all these shrine heads and you walk in this little area down there, but they have these giant monitors that make it look like you're on a boat going down a river. That's the Undertow in Phoenix. That one's amazing. So yeah, but as far as going back in time, the Kahiki for sure. In the Luau, which was on Rodeo Drive in Billy Blanken Hills.
What's your relationship with surf music? Is it a genre that you enjoy? I would imagine you do.
Yes, I do. I will admit, I wish that I knew it better and was more an expert in the realm of it. I mean, it's absolutely my favorite category. I mean, being a Southern Californian, growing up going to Huntington Beach and Seal Beach and all the beaches and all that, I mean, I feel like, until I got really bad sunburn and never went back again, I mean, I love that whole part of my childhood and teenage years. And I love that music. I love surf music. I love the Beach Boys. I love the Ventures. And I could listen to stuff like, all day long. I mean, it's the rhythm, the feeling. It just kind of puts you right there.
Well, I believe we are sharing a show again, the Lowbrow Luau.
Okay. I love it.
and you're going to be doing your slideshow, and the Hula Girls are going to be playing whatever it is that we play. And hopefully things are back to normal-ish.
I'm keeping like positive thoughts. So.
Yeah, me too. Well, I do sincerely want to thank you for joining us today, and it's so nice to have kind of a long conversation with you finally.
I know, and have fun. I'll look for you driving around in your all new for 1961 Ford Econoline van with that gorgeous paint job.
Nothing quite like being behind the wheel of a classic car. Hi, I'm Charles Phoenix, and I was born to celebrate classic and kitschy American life and style.
This is major, this is real, this is deep.
Spellbinding, hypnotizing, and mesmerizing. You are so invited to join me here every Friday night for my web series showcasing the great American cars of the space age. Oh yes, we are going for a ride in this. Look at that. Look at those fins. Look at those taillights. We got to talk about taillights. First of all, how much do you love those taillights? Look at that gull wing. Oh yeah. I know. Lipstick red inside and out. This is the all-new for 1959, the Sabre station wagon by Buick. I'm talking about the wildest cars ever to roll off an assembly line. This is a push-button transmission, and no, you are not imagining things, and no, you're not dreaming. The TeleTouch is in the middle of the steering wheel, in the hub. I guess we might as well just get it out in the open. It is so about time that somebody put these cars up on the pedestal where they so richly deserve to be. This 1956 Lincoln Premier convertible is an out-of-this-world class national treasure of the absolute highest order. I know. And don't forget to subscribe right down there. Joyride is brought to you by Holiday Jubilee and Addicted to Americana. Life is full of surprises. I always say most of them are wonderful.
My next guest I've known for a long time in the tiki scene and in the cocktail world. I think we played our first show with her at a place called Buster's Beach House, and I remember this beautiful woman behind the bar saying, "Do you want a real Trader Vic's or Dawn the Beachcomber cocktail?" And I was kind of like, I don't know if she knows what she's talking about. And turns out she knows exactly what she's talking about. And that was probably almost 20 years ago, when people weren't as entrenched in the tiki craft cocktail world. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend Marie King.
Hi.
How are you?
Great. Living the dream, beautiful Southern California.
I think a lot of people back then, well, on Tiki Central, a lot of people back then were paying attention to the cocktails, and certain people were really being particular about them. But most people just accepted, I guess, a Mai Tai for whatever they served you. And as long as it was colorful and in a mug, then you were fine with it. What would you say attracted you the most to making tiki cocktails precise, I guess I would say?
Yeah, well, I've always been someone who's loved recipes. You know, I've been aware of the classic cocktails. I remember the first time I was asked to make an old fashioned, I had to look it up and saw muddled with sugar or stirred. What's going on here? There's a recipe to things. And in the very beginning of my husband and I's relationship, he plays in surf music bands. We were introduced to some home tiki bars, and Al Nepper made us our first sort of home tiki cocktail. And I remember taking that first sip and saying, "There's apricot in here." And he was kind of blown away, like, "You can discern that there's apricot brandy in there?" And I was like, "Well, can't everybody?"
No way.
So at that point, he showed me the grog log, and I went and just dove into it and was like, recipes, drinks, this is what I do for a living, and brought it into my bar and my world where I was working at the time at Buster's.
So myself getting into the grog log and the Total Tiki app and the book that Martin Kate put out, is it frustrating for you to go to a tiki bar and ordering a drink and going, this isn't even close?
Yeah, a lot of my friends won't go out with me because I just get so picky, and I'm like, oh, I know it could be done better.
Yeah, it's so frustrating, isn't it?
It is frustrating. It is frustrating. But, you know, there are some great bars doing great things out there. So You know when to order a beer. You know when to order a cocktail.
Do you have a favorite tiki bar aside from the Tonga huts that you manage? Do you manage them?
Yes. I'm the beverage director for both locations.
Wow. And there are incredible cocktails there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. The frustrating thing for me with tiki cocktails is you want to drink them all. You want to try them all. But it's a disaster real quick.
Yeah. There's been a few hooky lows where we've been at the Mai Kai at last call and people have tried to do that. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. So is there a tiki bar that you love more than others aside from the Tonga huts?
100% the Mai Kai. Obviously, it's for historic significance. It's like making your Hajj. You know, it's Mecca.
It really is. It's perfect.
The Bay Area and San Diego have got some amazing things. Anything that Martin Kate touches is going to be gold.
I know.
And then you have, you know, the Pagan Idol and Zombie Village. We could go east. You have places like the Inferno Room, which is doing great things. Foundation Room. One of my absolute favorite experiences is to just park myself in the corner of Lost Lake and spend the whole day there. That's amazing. 3 Dots and a Dash, obviously. There's just so many, and they're all friends of mine too, so I don't want to leave them out, but there's just almost too many to talk about.
Yeah, it's so
really
funny
gone this resurgence.
It's so funny to think that there are bars that you would travel across the country to visit. You know what I mean? I've always thought that it's so funny that we will travel across the country just to go to a bar.
100%. 100%. You know, you want that full experience.
Yeah.
And then Europe too. You know, you have Dirty Dicks in Paris And Barcelona, even though the cocktails aren't all that, you need to go see the historic bars in Barcelona. Madrid, there's some really historic tiki bars in Madrid. And then you also have Tiki Chateau, a new tiki bar in Madrid, which is outstanding.
Wow. So I guess you're going to make something for us today, right?
Yeah. So what I have today is something seasonal. So I've been sticking with daiquiris most of this quarantine because I have a lime tree out back and sugar in my cupboard, lots of rum, mixing it up with different styles of rum. You know, sometimes I'll make it with pot still Jamaican and, you know, my Puerto Rican light style rum.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was at the farmer's market the other day and strawberries are in season.
All right.
So we're going to do a tropical rum rhapsody with strawberries. And
that's an interesting choice because usually we're accustomed to lime, orange juice, white grapefruit. You don't hear of strawberries popping up in tiki drinks all that often.
No, but, you know, it's a rum rhapsody. So tiki drinks is kind of that misnomer. What is a tiki drink? What isn't? I like to call them tropical cocktails. And if it's rum-based and it makes you feel like you're going away on a holiday, you know, it's going to be that rum rhapsody that Don the Beachcomber always intended us to be drinking. Plus, one of my favorite ingredients to add to any rum is something like pimento dram or cinnamon. This one uses pimento dram for spice.
Love that.
So we have the 1 of sour, 1 ounce of fresh lime juice from the tree outside.
Can you explain that little rhyme thing? It's not really a rhyme.
Yeah. So it's kind of a thing that they did in some spots in the Caribbean based on the Jamaican style rum punch, which was 1 of sour, 2 of sweet, 3 of strong, 4 of weak. So in this case, I'm using lime. But Dawn and Vic took that lime and made it lime and lemon, or made it lime and grapefruit. So you could switch up your lime. I'm also sticking with the traditional sweet, which is simple syrup in this case.
Right.
1/2 ounce. But again, Dawn started using honey. And Vic started using agave. So you can always change up that sweet, make it passion fruit. I do my simple syrup cold process 1-to-1, which is going to be less sweet than a hot process where you boil it because the molecules change when heat is added and it becomes sweeter and has more viscosity.
And so how do you do the cold process? You just shake it?
I stir it, let it dissolve. It takes a few minutes. You know, I measure out the water and I weigh the sugar. I know that sounds pedantic, but, you know, I do it for a bar because when you're weighing solids, mass and weight can be different. And you just want it to be the same every time.
Right.
That's just it. For the bar, I do it the same way every time. As long as you do it the same way every time and it's your recipe, it doesn't matter how you do it. So we have sour and sweet. For strong, I'm using a classic traditional Puerto Rican style silver rum. Don Q is one of my favorite brands. They've got great practices, very ethical practices, great family-run plantation or family-run distillery. 1.5 of this. And then personally, because I'm a big fan of the funk of any Jamaican rum, I just put a couple drops in there.
Okay.
A little rum fire goes a long way.
Okay. And so is that like it's a pot still rum?
It's 100% pot still unaged rum from Hamden Estates in Jamaica.
Okay.
It's got the highest esters. Esters are the molecules that gives it the flavor. It's got more esters than any other rum on the market.
Wow. All right.
And then for my spice, I've got my allspice dram. Put about 1/2 ounce in there. I love the Bitter Truth. St. Elizabeth's makes one. Hamilton makes one. They all are a little bit different, a little bit sweeter. The Bitter Truth kind of is one of my favorites.
Okay.
And then I'm missing my key ingredient here. John Paul? Yeah. Can you give me the Campari, please?
Oh, Campari.
So then I've got some strawberries here. Like I said, it's fresh and seasonal. 1, 2 strawberries. And then my newest obsession is anything bitter.
Wow.
So this has got Campari in it. It's also a little bit of that spice, but it's taking it a little bit of a modern spin on what you would consider a tiki cocktail or a rum rhapsody by adding
a little
just a little bit, half an ounce.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It is. It does.
A little Campari can go a long way, huh?
Exactly. And it's that dry element, so it kind of counterbalances any sweetness that you're putting in the drink, too.
Okay.
So I have my cracked ice here that I made at home with an old-fashioned hand crank ice crusher. But what I'm going to do with this, because it has the strawberries and because it has so many bold flavors in it, I'm really going to use that water, that 4 of week, to kind of temper down the flavors that I've got in here. So I'm just just a little home blender, and then I'm just going to flash it a couple of times. Just to break it down and get some ice melted. All right. Got our nice fancy Tonga hut glass here.
But we're not trying to make it a slushy, right?
It's not a slushy. You can make it a slushy if you feel like it. Like I said, I'm using that mostly to break down the strawberry and to get a lot of dilution in there.
Right.
Because I want that ice to make it, it's a component of the drink. It's part of the recipe.
Sure.
You know, that 4 of wheat. And remember, we've got the strong, heavy flavors in here, so it could use that dilution. And then we're going to just make it pretty. Too bad you guys aren't over here, man, let me tell you.
I wish there was smell-o-vision and taste-o-vision. Yeah.
Voila. There you go. So that is my Laulana.
Laulana. Looks delicious.
Yep.
This episode features the relationship of tiki and surf music, and I know that you have a lot of experience in surf music, as per your husband, who plays in just about every surf band in Southern California. What is your thought about how surf music relates to tiki? Because it's a highly debated topic whether or not surf is tiki, but I tend to think that it is. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. You got to remember, they were contemporary.
Right.
In the early 60s, surf was starting. Dick Dale was playing down in Laguna in 61, 62, and that's when Martin Denny was at his height in Hawaii, or taking off in Hawaii. So they were contemporary. So it kind of makes sense. And also it's the instrumental nature, the lack of vocals in surf music makes for an ambiance, as Exotica does.
Totally.
And I think, that is the perfect soundtrack that you want to have behind you. And third, really important that people forget is, since this resurgence started in the 90s, surf music has been intimately intertwined with it. Tiki News, every band that was written, if it wasn't Exotica, it was a surf music band. All the parties, they kind of came into being together, this resurgence of both genres.
Mm-hmm. Well, surf is more lively and way more of a fun party music than something like Exotica or Hapa Haole, which I love both of them. But if you want like a modern party, without going into hard rock or whatever, surf's just the perfect combination.
And people forget how many different mini genres there are in surf music. You know, you can have metal surf. There's this French guy that is just on fire, you know, or Brazilians. But then you can have the most melodic, dreamy, ethereal stuff coming out of Croatia with the Bambi Molesters, you know, and then you have Surfer Joe from Italy who takes that classic showman, big power, but has this sort of Italian instrumentation that he does. I don't know what he does with Surfer Joe. It's just the most melodic, classic style surf music I've ever heard. So.
It is really beautiful. Well, Marie King, thank you so much. It's been an absolute honor, and
Thanks,
I hope to see you sooner than later.
Yes, hopefully soon.
All
Be
right.
safe and be well.
Thank you. Aloha.
Is that far-off eruption and crashing surf a mere mirage?
The legend of an enchanted mythical island has captured the heart of many oceanic explorers.
But this tropical island has evaded all those searching for it.
It's the mythical home of hula girls, volcanoes, and exotic drinks.
It's a place of abundance and joyous comfort.
After searching the 7 seas, the secret island has finally emerged.
It's a Polynesian paradise in Long Beach.
We're celebrating Pele, the Hawaiian goddess of fire and volcanoes.
Revel in this mysterious grotto with fine food and liquid libations merged with the sound of the islands.
Enjoy its atmosphere of contentment and joy.
More than an illusion, Secret Island is Tiki authenticity at its finest.
Meet our ambassadors of Aloha with a craft cocktail in hand.
Enjoy the tempting tastes and potent potions of Secret Island.
Guaranteed to relax your inhibitions.
Folks, I hope you're enjoying the show. That was some great stuff from Marie King and Big Tiki Dude, and we got so much more ahead for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Sven from, of course, the Book of Tiki, and so many other books that he's written that are just roadmaps for the culture. You know what I mean? And then Jeremy from the Surfer Jets. So we're excited to see them both coming up here. And remember, the tip jar is still available for you guys to put some generous donations into. We'd like to thank all of the performers and consultants and everybody on the show. Really do appreciate it. So thanks so much. All right, back to the show.
Okay, so we're back. It's Jeff, Big Tiki Dude, and we're going to be going with our second group of videos here. And this is the 80s revival. And some would say that John Blair from John and the Night Riders, with his book, The Illustrated Discography of Surf Music, that he was very instrumental, so to speak, in starting the second wave. So let's start it off with The Rumble at Waikiki by John and the Night Riders.
Meanwhile, back on stage one. Hey, back in the early 80s when people thought surf music was dead, these guys brought it back to life. John Blair, Jeff Nicholson, Dave Wronski, Dusty Watson, and Greg Eckler. Ladies and gentlemen, John and the Night Riders.
1, 2, 3.
Alrighty, and we're back. And the second song we had there was The Curl Rider by the Surf Raiders. And we started off with Rumble at Waikiki by John and the Night Riders. Up next, we have the South Bay band The Halibuts, mixing in a little bit of 80s ska here with Mr. Mysterioso. And then after that, we have the Packards with Beach City Bop. Just a little footnote, the Packards was a band by Paul Johnson, and Paul Johnson was in the Bel Airs in the 60s, and I have failed to have the Bel Airs in the original first section, but I'm sure many people know Mr. Moto by the Bel Airs. If you haven't heard it and you want to look it up, go ahead. This is one of those things where you could play 50 songs, you know, for like, you know, the essential surf music, you know, so for me to narrow it down to 12 was really hard.
My next guest started a surf band in 2015 in Canada. It's an all-girl surf band, and they were really good. And then they put together a music video that went absolutely viral on YouTube with 4 million views. It was a genius move, and I'd like to welcome my friend Shermy Freeman to our show. Hello, Shermy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Good.
So tell me a little bit about the music video that you guys did that has 4 million views.
Well, what's kind of funny about that video is that we just had a photo shoot that day. Like, we needed some updated, you know, press photos. We had a new band member, which was Anna. Mm-hmm. So we organized a shoot, and we had a gig like later that night. So it just made sense to, you know, get ready and do the photo shoot and go to the gig. And right before we were ready to leave, I said to the photographer, "Oh, take my phone and we'll just like play a song because we're dressed up in the living room." And she's like, "Okay." So she sat in the corner of the room, and it's Courtney Reader, by the way, and that she handheld the phone and we took the video, and that's the story. And then like a week later, I was like, oh, maybe I should post that video that we took in the living room. And then next it was just like boom, 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 all these views.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you guys have ascended to one of the biggest surf bands, I'd say, in Surflandia. You know what I mean? Like the surf scene. There's no Surflandia. So it was a Britney Spears song, and so wait, did you guys play that live? Is that a live recording?
Yeah, no, we just did it live in the video. Yeah, we were just playing it live, yeah.
So what's on YouTube is a live recording, like.
Yeah, there's a lot of discrepancy about that in the comments, and some people also talk about our how our movie set is wrong and blah blah blah, but that's literally just our living room, and not too much thought went into that.
That is absolutely insane, because I know from us being friends that that's just your house, like that's your style. You have impeccable style, a taste in like mid 60s kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I would say like my tastes in things go from like late 50s to late 60s, and I kind of like a mashup of everything.
Yeah. So once that thing happened, you guys were kind of propelled, and then you also went to Norm's Rare Guitars, and you played Mr. Moto and I think something else, right? What was it?
Yeah, that was before that video. Nicole and I just went on a vacation to California for fun. Like neither of us had ever been. So we were like, oh, we should go to that Norman's Rare Guitar store. And I had been following Mark Ignisi, the manager, on Instagram. So I saw him in the store and I like cracked a joke. And he was like, oh, are you from that surf band? And I said, yeah. And then he's like, oh, I'll sit on the couch and play a song. We're closing in 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. So we just like picked up any guitar we found, and mine, I swear mine had like rusty strings on it. And we just like sat down, and they brought this big camera out, and they were like, oh, here's Norm, and he's going to introduce the band. And it all happened like so fast. And then same kind of thing. A week later, they post the video, and boom, 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 all these views, and the rest is history.
And last I checked, I think the YouTube video is like 2.7 million views.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't checked that one in a while, but
yeah,
it's, I can't explain it. It was just completely organic. They had no idea we were coming. We just went to the store for fun.
It's pretty rad. And you're 45 on High Tide Recordings for Toxic, the Britney Spears cover. Is then it's, I think it's third pressing, right?
Yeah, it's pink now.
And I think I have the blue one, maybe. There's a blue one, a white one, and a pink one, I think.
Yeah.
So your band and my band, we've played a bunch of shows together. We did like a Joshua Tree thing, and New Jersey, and where else? Santa Ana.
In Santa Ana.
Is there a particular show that really stands out in your mind? Not necessarily one with the Hula Girls, but just any show.
Yeah, there's like a couple where I just feel like things really came together. I think on that California tour, I really loved playing in Morro Bay.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
It was like a Tuesday, which, you wouldn't think would be like a hot night for live music on a Tuesday, but a lot of people came out, and the crowd was just like so into it. And, we were just at a good point in the tour where we weren't too tired, and we were, it was just a really great night. And that one really stands out to me. And just like a couple local shows we've played were, just having everyone there that were like, they were really great.
Is there certain influence? Because it's, I mean, you started the band, correct? Like it's
Yeah.
kind of your brainchild. Is there a certain band that you have kind of like maybe mostly been inspired by?
I don't know. It's a hard one because I don't know. I really love the Ventures for sure. That's like that was a big influence since I was like young. But otherwise, it's just, I remember I tried to look for more rare surf tracks, and I think I dug a little bit deeper, and that's what really like made me fall in love with surf. You know, we all hear Wipeout when we're 4 years old.
Yeah.
But, you know, digging deep is what got me like obsessed with it.
Yeah, for sure. I've always liked some of the Bel Air songs that aren't the ones that you know, and even the ones that people know they're not like the super famous ones. I mean, Mr. Moto's famous, but it's not, like you said, it's not Wipeout or, you know, Pipeline or whatever. But you guys did do Tiki Oasis last year, and I saw you in your like new wave outfits.
Oh yeah.
Which was super fun, and you played amongst some like new wave legends too.
Yes. And
I know that your tastes kind of like jump between like what we talked about, late 50s, early 60s, but then also probably new wave and
oh yeah,
that stuff too.
Yeah, I have a very vast musical taste. I like all kinds of music, but that was a crazy day. I'm sure you can attest to that.
Yeah.
A whole lot I can't even, you know, could never have imagined went on that day.
What would you say that your band's role in the Tiki world has been or may be in the future? Is that an insane question?
I feel like in the musical sense, especially in the surf, you know, genre, there hasn't been a whole lot of female representation. I mean, there definitely have been female bands, but I think we feel good, you know, maybe even inspiring the next generation of female surf bands. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of even like when our YouTube videos do go viral, my favorite comments are seeing young girls write, wow, I really want to get a guitar and try this. So if anything, our role in Tiki has been maybe spreading it to a wider audience that may not have seen it, including young women that might want to pick up a guitar and learn a Venture song.
That's a way heavier answer than I totally expected. And I totally understand and totally agree because there isn't that much of a representation of women in music. And that was one of the things I loved about your guys' things so much is you play incredibly. You guys all look good on stage, like matching and stuff. The whole package is so good. And I would imagine that happened to younger girls, younger women.
Yeah, we're actually, you know, trying to think about different ways. I don't know in which we can give back, and we've been thinking about maybe helping out with some programs locally that actually work with young girls and teach them how to play in rock bands and things like that. So that's something that we're looking into. Hopefully, we can participate in.
Yeah, that's really cool. We played together at the Micah in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh yeah.
What was your experience in Fort Lauderdale? Did you enjoy that?
Wow. The first thing comes to mind is that the Molokai bar stage where it's just like, I really wasn't expecting how many people were there.
Yeah.
Crammed into the Molokai bar. I hope the fire marshal's not listening. But, man, it's just like, you know, really intense energy when people are so close to the stage, and pretty sure Sarah got electrocuted because someone spilled a drink on her while she was playing, but it was a great time.
Yeah, the Molokai bar is such a special place. Like it does feel like kind of like a punk rock club when you get like a loud band in there. And have you guys opened for any bands that have been influential to you, or like just bigger bands that you were excited to be on the same bill with?
For sure. Well, it was really cool at Nashville Boogie. We didn't necessarily open for them, but being on the same bill as like JD McPherson, which is like my all-time favorite new vintage band. That was special for me. And, you know, the B-52s and Ronnie Spector played. And I think when I saw that poster, I was like, holy, you know.
Yeah. Being a guitar player, I've noticed your guitar, and your guitar has a custom paint job on it, right?
Yeah.
And it's a Jaguar?
Yeah.
But what do you call it?
It's the Jaguar.
It's a blue metal flake Fender Jaguar.
Yeah. Well, it is now it's a Shermie Jaguar because it was a Squire. I'm not gonna lie. And I just I took everything off of it, like all the hardware, and had it completely rebuilt with like way better hardware and diddly doodads.
And then your amps custom too, right? Didn't you guitar amp cabinet?
Oh, my dad built me another amp. It's like it was an old Belltone amp he found in the dump when he was like 18, and he had it stashed somewhere.
Wow.
Because my family doesn't throw anything out. And then the cabinet was all busted, so he made like an amazing new cabinet for it, but it's like perfect condition otherwise. But no, the amps we use in the band, Nicole and I use Fender Excelsiors. That was that like pawn shop series, I think. The blue vinyl. They've been through quite a bit at this point.
For you, Tiki, is that, I mean, I know that in your past you've been involved closer with Tiki. Do you have much of a Tiki collection, or are you, maybe, I guess, expand on that a little bit, you know?
Well, I remember being in like the 8th grade and discovering the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, South Pacific.
Right.
And being like utterly obsessed with it, like to the point I broke the VHS tape.
Wow.
And I just was so enamored with, you know, the visuals. And then I started buying Hawaiian shirt fabric and making like bags out of it. So that was like my first, you know, I think my first little tidbit of Tiki.
Yeah.
And then, just, you know, it's kind of unanimous with the kitsch. And I started, you know, discovering Tiki bars and souvenir wear. And next, you know, I've got, you know, tons of Tiki mugs, and well, not tons compared to you guys. I've got nothing compared to, to what you probably have. But
you also do have a brand new 45 out on High Tide.
Yep, yeah, it's called Hailiwa Hustle, and that was actually inspired from. I actually went to Hawaii for the first time last year. And I was just like so inspired by the North Shore and getting to actually experience that we'd already played what's on the B-side, Bonsai Pipeline. That's actually by the Astronauts, Surfwise, but it was written by Henry Mancini. So we kind of did a homage to Henry Mancini in our version. We switched back and forth between like jazzy and surf.
Rad.
So that explains that. And then, the A-side is the song that kind of came out of my trip to Hawaii.
And you have a new music video for that as well.
Oh, yeah. That was a really neat experience. That was filmed at This Is Red in Pittsburgh. It's like an old Slovakian church.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
It was, you were there. It was... You were there. It was an amazing space, and they have like a media company, so they asked if we would, participate in the video filming, and it was just a really neat experience to do that.
Rad. Well, I would urge everybody to go to High Tide Recordings and pick up their brand new. And Shermie, thank you so much for hanging out, and it was very nice talking to you again.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Shermie from the Surfrajettes.